Michelle, can you please take the roll?
Mayor Kenny.
Here.
Councilmember Cody.
Here.
Councilmember Zelinski.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Whitliff.
Here.
Interim City Manager.
Here.
City Attorney.
Here.
Finance Director.
Here.
City Engineer.
Here.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. Citizen comment on agenda-related items. Is there anyone who would like to comment on tonight's agenda? Yes, sir. Please come forward, state your name and address.
Address. My name is Ed Jones. My address is 4339 West Fox Farm Road. I'm with the City of Manistee Non-Motorized Transportation Committee. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Am I supposed to speak now?
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was at the end of the agenda.
Are you, this is, if you have wanted to talk about anything on the agenda, and then later, after the meeting, you can speak on anything.
Yeah, I just was going to talk a little bit about the right of silence, which is going to occur tomorrow. So do that at the end of the
Yeah. you can-
Well, thank you.
All right, sorry. Is anyone who'd like to talk on tonight's, or speak on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All agenda items marked with an asterisk are on the consent agenda and considered by the city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval of the consent agenda, any member of council may have an item from the consent agenda removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Consent agenda items include approval of minutes, approval of payroll, monthly bills, notification regarding next work session, and consideration of VFW Buddy Poppy campaign.
I'll make the motion that council could take action to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Cody, supported by Councilmember Whitliff, to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? So now will you please take a roll?
Councilmember Cody.
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski.
Yes.
Mayor Kenny.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. Consideration of amending development agreement Amtech Incorporated. On May 2009, the city entered into an agreement with Amtech Inc. for their development in the industrial park. Among other items, the city agreed to approve a Renaissance subzone, approve a brownfield plan, and apply for MDOT Category A grant. Among other items, Amtech agreed to operate and maintain their plant in the industrial park, pay up to $50,000 as a city match to the MDOT Category A grant, and transfer 40 jobs to the plant and create 40 new jobs at their facility. The agreement provides that Amtech will pay a reimbursement fee of $1,000 per job that is not created. For reasons outlined in their letter of May 7, 2015, Amtech has not created the 40 new jobs, principally due to the economic downturn of 2008-2009. In their letter, Amtech requests that the $1,000 fee per job not achieving a total of 80 jobs be waived. That reimbursement fee is $22,000. For the reasons outlined in the letter, the interim city manager recommends that the city council take action to waive section 2H of the agreement, the reimbursement fee, because the $50,000 MDOT grant match has already been spent in reliance on the Amtech agreement. The interim city manager does not agree with waiving the remaining $7,142 payment for that grant match. Is there a motion to take action?
I'll make the motion that the city take action to waive section 2H of the development agreement between the city of Manistee and Amtech Inc., waiving the reimbursement fee for Amtech. Second.
There's a motion by Councilmember Cody, supported by Councilmember Whitliff, to take action to waive section 2H of the development agreement. Is there any discussion?
Could Mr. Bifus explain a little bit about this?
Certainly. The reason why Amtech did not create 80 total jobs is really the economic downturn of 2008 and 2009. And I think to most people that's pretty understandable. However, the MDOT grant reimbursement or grant match, in my mind, is completely different. That grant was received, those funds were spent, and Amtech has paid most of that obligation back to the city. The remaining obligation really isn't related to the economic downturn. The remaining obligation is a contractual requirement that they're required to pay us. If they were seeking that relief from all of their vendors to avoid bankruptcy, that may be an issue, but that's not where they are. The relief on the DOT grant match, I think, is completely unrelated to the economic downturn, which is why I don't recommend council support for that. I do recommend support on the lack of jobs created, because that, in my mind, is pretty clearly related to the economic downturn over which they had no control.
Are there some other alternatives to waiving this, such as extending the time period?
That certainly could be a possibility, yes. We could add a year or 2 years. In my discussions, besides the letter, I had a couple of conversations with the MTech leadership. They indicate the future looks a little brighter, but not as bright as it did when they were looking at clearing up on the wind turbine creation, which is when this 40 additional jobs was really anticipated. That was going to be a big deal. It was going to be a lot of jobs. They don't have a big contract in the near future like that. So my guess is that any short-term extension, they may be able to add a couple of additional jobs, but probably not get close to the 80.
I think I would be more in favor in extending the period of 24 months to try and work through the development as opposed to waiving the full amount at this time. Certainly, economic benefit has resulted from the brownfield and other considerations in the move to the company, and jobs are certainly an issue here in the community.
I have not had that conversation with them. If you would like me to, I could, before you take any specific action on it, and just table it for the time being.
But if they don't create those jobs in 24 months, then
Then they can either A, explain themselves again, or request the waiver at that time.
and if they create the jobs, there's no money coming back to the city, is there? I mean,
There would be no $22,000. The final payment on the DOT grant match is due a year from now, so that would have been paid by then. At a minimum, you would need to waive it for, say, 24 months, because it was due as of January 1 of this year, 2015. But I could have that conversation first, come back maybe with a 24-month waiver as opposed to a complete waiver.
my point being, we're separating the MDOT grant. We're only talking about the jobs at this point. If we waive it now and they create the jobs, there's still no coming back to the city, right? I mean, they're not paying the city for any jobs they create.
If they create the 80 total jobs and we gave them an extension, there would be no reimbursement fee.
Right, but if we waive it now or waive it 24 months from now, it's not gonna really matter, even if they create the jobs.
If
On
they
the
create
city.
the jobs, there's no waiver necessary. If they don't create the jobs, arguably, they would have to come back and explain again why for that additional 2-year period, they haven't created the jobs. My frank guess is it's going to be the same answer. The economy hasn't perked up enough for them to create the jobs. We had a conversation that I thought was pretty enlightening. If they could create more jobs, make more money, they would do that. And if they could have done that prior to the effective date in the contract, they would have done that because they could have made more money. And if they can do that in the next 24 months, I would expect them to do that as well.
And that being my point, I think they're gonna create the jobs
If they
without
can.
this incentive or not this incentive.
If they can, they will,
Right.
regardless
So
of this 22,000.
whether we do it now or 2 years from now, I'm not,
I think waiving it now removes the incentive to continue working towards creating the jobs. Extending it 2 years leaves the incentive out there at $1,000 per job to continue the creation efforts.
Unless you agree with the mayor that the incentive is already there to create the jobs to create more profit for them.
but I agree with your assessment as far as the MDOT grant, reimbursing the city for what remains on that.
To me, that's unrelated to the job creation economic downturn.
Any other?
Well, if they do get additional contracts, they will have to hire more people, so. guess I would be in favor of waiving that rather than extending. So,
Yeah. I just
I
don't
mean, the
see the
incentive's
benefit.
there.
Yeah.
The incentive's there. If you get more business, that's the incentive to bring more people on.
And make more profit for that. I
Right.
mean, it's free enterprise.
Yeah. Comments?
I have none.
Any further comments? Can you please take the roll?
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
No.
And Mayor Kenny.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of two-year contract extension, Huron Tackle Company. The Huron Tackle Company had a contract to remove fish waste from the fish cleaning station at First Street Beach and to perform general keep-up of the fish cleaning portion of the facility. That contract expired September 30th, 2014, but included language to allow for two-year extensions. The city attorney has prepared the contract extension document under consideration this evening. Is there a motion to take action?
I make a motion, council take action to authorize a 2-year extension to the agreement with Huron Tackle Company and authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the document.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, supported by Councilmember Cody, to approve the authorization of the 2-year extension. Is there any other discussion?
I think they've done a good job down here. I think it's a good thing. Can't see why we can't approve it.
I agree with you. They've done a fantastic job. It used to be so bad to even drive by there. It's just wonderful now. You don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
And Mayor Kenny.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of utility service agreement with Frederick W. Thyman. Council has approved a utility service agreement with West Shore Medical Center on Oak Grove Street in Manistee Township. Mr. Frederick W. Thyman owns a home at 7 Park Avenue, which is along the route of the new sewer line, and wishes to connect to the city's sanitary sewer system at the same time. The city attorney has prepared an agreement for council consideration. Is there a motion to take action to enter into the agreement?
I make a motion, council take action to enter into an agreement with Mr. Frederick W. Thyman, 7 Park Avenue, Manistee Township for sanitary sewer services and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the contract.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, supported by Councilmember Zelinski, to approve the action to enter into the agreement. Is there any other discussion?
I assume this is all underneath the new water rate study.
It is consistent with our previous practice. We're currently in negotiations with Manistee Township that may substantively change these contracts going forward, but we don't have that agreement yet, so this is really the standard agreement that we've used for the last 10, 12, 15 years.
So this would just be like a tentative agreement until...
It's a final agreement with an expectation that it'll be amended once we get the agreement with Manistee Township.
And they're aware of that.
Yes.
Any other discussions?
I have none.
So can you please take the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Mayor Kenny.
Yes.
And Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of applications to boards and commissions. The city clerk has taken action to advertise vacancies on the Brown Redevelopment Authority, Compensation Commission, Downtown Development Authority, Harbor Commission, Historic District Commission, Housing Commission, Parks and Beautification Commission, Peg Commission, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. All appointments by the mayor are subject to council's approval unless otherwise specified by statute or ordinance. Nominations for council appointments do not require a second. After a member of council nominates an individual for appointment, council shall vote on the nomination. A majority vote in favor of placement of the nominee is required for appointment. The following applications have been received. Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, there are 2 vacancies, 3-year terms ending 6/30/18. Applicants must be a city resident or a person with an interest in property in the city. This is a mayor appointment, and we have 2 applicants. First, Stephen Brower, 4102 College Avenue, and second is Dave Carlson, 100 Oak Street. I'd like to appoint Stephen Brower, 4102 College Avenue, to the one vacancy, 3-year term.
You need a support? on
Yes,
that?
thank you.
I'll support it. I'll make the motion that we accept the mayor's recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Cody, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, to appoint Stephen Brower to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for a 3-year term ending 6/30/18. Is there any discussion on that? Please take the roll.
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Kenny?
Yes,
And Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
Motion approved.
thank you. I also like to appoint Dave Carlson of 100 Oak Street to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for the vacancy with a 3-year term ending 6/30/18.
I make a motion to, on the recommendation of Dave Carlson, for the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Whitliff, supported by Councilmember Zelinski, to appoint Dave Carlson of 100 Oak Street to a 3-year term on the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, term ending 6/30/18. Any discussion? So now will you please take the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
And Mayor Kenny?
Yes,
Motion approved.
thank you. Compensation Commission, there are no applicants. The Downtown Development Authority, there are 2 vacancies, 4-year terms ending 6/30/19. At least one of the applicants must have an interest in property in the downtown district. This is a mayoral appointment. There is one applicant, Brandon Ball of 345 Fifth Street. I'd like to appoint him to one of the 2 vacancies, a 4-year term ending 6/30/19.
Make a motion, Brandon Ball, 345 Fifth Street, be appointed to the Downtown Development Authority.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, supported by Councilmember Zelinski, to appoint Brandon Ball of 345 Fifth Street to the Downtown Development Authority on a vacancy, 4-year term ending 6/30/19. Is there any other discussion? So now will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
And Mayor Kenny?
Yes,
Motion approved.
thank you. Harbor Commission, we had 1 vacancy, no applicants. Historic District Commission, 1 vacancy, term ending 2/28/18. The applicant must be a city resident. This is a council appointment. We had 1 applicant, Lee Trucks of 453 Second Street.
I make a motion, Lee Trucks, 453 Second Street, be appointed to the Historic District Commission.
Second.
Can you please take the roll?
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
Mayor Kenny?
Yes,
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
And Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Motion approved.
thank you. Housing Commission, we had 1 vacancy. It was a 5-year term ending 5/31/20. There are no applicants. Parks and Beautification Commission, there are 2 vacancies, both are 3-year terms ending 6/30/18. Applicants must be a city resident or own real estate, business, profession in the city. This is a mayoral appointment. We had 3 applicants, Jennifer Teller of 712 Harbor Drive, Dale Teller of 712 Harbor Drive, and Ed Tegler of 522 Fifth Avenue. I'd like to appoint Ed Tegler of 522 Fifth Avenue to one of the vacancies, a 3-year term ending 6/30/18.
I'd like to make the motion to, for Ed Kegler, 522 Fifth Avenue, for the Parks and Beautification Commission.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Whitliff, supported by Councilmember Zelinski, to appoint Ed Tegler of 522 Fifth Avenue to a 3-year term on the Parks and Beautification Commission, term ending 6/30/18. Any other discussion? Can you please take the roll?
Councilmember Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Cody?
Yes.
And Mayor Kenny?
Yes,
Motion approved.
thank you. Next, I'd like to appoint Jennifer Teller of 712 Harbor Drive to the 2nd vacancy. It's also a 3-year term ending 6/30/18. I do need. Okay.
Make a motion that Jennifer Teller, 712 Harbor Drive, be appointed to the Parks and Beautification Commission.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, supported by Councilmember Whitliff, to appoint Jennifer Keller of 712 Harbor Drive to the Parks and Beautification Commission, the term ending 6/30/18. Is there any further discussion? So now, may you please take the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Kenny,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitliff,
Yes.
Councilmember Cody,
Yes.
and Councilmember Zelinski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Pet Commission, there were 2 vacancies, no applicants. Zoning Board of Appeals, there was 1 vacancy, no applicants. So at this time, I would ask that you put those out there, advertise those. Next, we'll move on to notices, communication, and announcement. A regular part of each council meeting is a report from a cooperating agency, organization, or department. Tonight, we'll hear from the Pay Commission and the alternatives for area youth. So first off, we'll hear from Mr. Keith Brown, who will report on the activities of the Pay Commission.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for inviting me to talk to you a little bit today about the Pay Commission. Yep. Okay, the mission of the Manistee Public Access Station is to provide access to local content that informs, educates, entertains the community we serve. The Peg Commission membership is Barry Land, he's the chair, Jane Cruz, the vice chair, Kathy Urban is secretary, Dale Kolanowski is commissioner, Michelle Wright, liaison to the city, and I am Keith Brown, the executive director. It was nice to meet you, people that I haven't met before. In a really cable access television concept. In the late 60s, in response to concern about the lack of public access to television airwaves, cable television programming began in earnest, and within the next decade, hundreds of public access television production facilities were launched. The Federal Communications Commission, FCC, required that these facilities provide 3 channels, one each for public, education, and local government use. Thus we have PEG. In 1976, the FCC amended their rule to require cable systems in communities with 3,500 or more subscribers set aside up to 4 TV cable channels. But also to provide access to equipment and studios for use by the public. Funding for this not-for-profit enterprise came from a percentage of the franchise fee. This fee is paid to municipalities, cities, villages, etc. for the use of the right-of-way for the cable. But the amount of those fees is based on the number of subscribers that you have in your municipality. Technical aspects. Typical production of programs for public access includes several pieces of equipment and at least 1 volunteer. First, the volunteer sets up the equipment, tripod, camera, and microphones if needed. After the program is recorded, city meeting, concert, sporting event, etc., the tape or digital file is sent to a computer for non-linear editing if necessary. Some meetings cannot be edited, such as council meetings and government meetings. Next, the edited program is burned to a DVD, and at the same time another lower resolution copy is made for upload to the internet. For a 2-hour meeting, at least another 3 to 6 hours may be spent producing the final program for broadcast. There's some broadcast equipment in the photo below there: DVD recorder, DVD player, the server, a linear audio stabilizer, and other equipment. So that can make that. All right. Okay, our funding comes from approximately 60% is from the city of Manistee. Fowler Township provides approximately 25%. The Manistee Township provides 15%. And I'd like to also thank you right now too for increasing our allocation a little bit this year. Also, Filer Township increased a little bit, and so did Manistee Township. We also received a subscriber contribution of 20 cents per month, and that funding goes to a fund for purchasing equipment. 20 cents per month doesn't sound like much, but when you have 2,500 subscribers in the city of Manistee, it comes out to almost $6,500 a year. So it's a meaningful figure to us. We do on occasion receive funding either in kind or in cash from business people and private citizens. In the last few years, this has dwindled due to the poor economy. Take down. All right. Down the lower left is one of the in-kind donations that we received. It is a 33-channel mixer. And on the right-hand side is another mixer for the studio that the kids use in the classroom, and that one was from Mark Sandstack, who runs MS Creative in town here. Grants. In the last couple of years, we have received significant monetary grants from the Little River Revenue Sharing Board. These monies went to an emergency purchase of a server. That's on the left lower picture there. These monies went into employment. Sorry about that. The other grant went for the purchase of 5 editing computers for the general public and the students of the video production class to use. Those 5 laptops are in the photo on the bottom right. There are 2 Macs and 3 Windows-based machines. In the student area, we have equipment on the upper left is that mixer and some other video production equipment. On the right-hand side shows the green screen where the students learn to use that type of apparatus to produce shows with varying backgrounds like they do on television when they do the weather. You'll see a guy in front of a weather map where he's standing in front of a green screen or a blue screen. So, and you can put anything you want in the background. So if you want to pretend you're at the White House or something like that, or Dairy Queen. Anyways, that's what it is. And here again is some of the photos of the same equipment. Most of this equipment that we have in here was donated or purchased with some of our funds that we managed to collect over the years. Okay, what are we doing and hoping to do? In the near future, and with the expansion of the video production class, we hope to gain more locally produced programs, including sporting events, high school, and many other projects that are tied to the students' grades. That seems to be the best way to get kids to do something. If you ask them, do you want to go take a basketball game, they'll typically say, no, thank you. And if you say, would you like to get an A if you want to do that? They sometimes say, yeah. This past year, Brian Vane has been instrumental in getting the students very involved in this process. Our online component has evolved, and we plan to continue to make it better each year. If you go online to our webpage, you will see the improvements. Our thanks go out to Mark Sandstad for setting up and maintaining our webpage. We also have begun a strategic planning process with the AES. Some of my volunteers, Tom Gator, over here, you see him every month, is my right-hand man and takes most of the Manistee meetings. Rosemary Adamski helps out with father meetings when I can't get there. Brian Vane and his students take the school board meetings and many special events. Upper right is Rosemary. The second guy, I don't know, looks kind of like Tom Gator. And to the right of him is Ed Session. He produces the Session country shows that play every day. And Alina Ashat produces the garden show. The lower left is Oscar Osborne. He provides me with a cop show called Gotcha and some travel shows from various parts of the world, not just the United States. Jim Slates is from Custer area, and he produces and puts on the Custer Boot Scooters. It's a line dancing show that's on every morning at 6 a.m. And to the right of him is Llewellyn King, and he is the anchor for the show Washington Chronicles. And Linda Gasparello is helping with that, and that's out of Washington DC. And on the right is Dan Brzezinski, who does some volunteer service for us. This is our new website. It's what it looks like. You can open it, type ManasteeTV.org, and you'll see most of the time it works pretty good. We have meetings archived back for at least 7, 8 months now, and maybe more than that. And we're going to keep maintaining those meetings in the archive. So if you need to see an old meeting, you can pull it up there. Plus, if you need a hard copy of it, you can download it and keep it. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
You do a very nice job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'd like to thank you for resolving the difficulties that people had accessing some of the council meetings. It's up to a very timely manner.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Ms. Sheila Kaminsky, who will report on the activities of the Alternatives for Area Youth.
Good evening, Your Honor. I am once again here to let you know what we are doing at the Manistee County Teen Center. It is run by the board of directors called Alternatives for Area Youth. I, along with 2 other women, work there. We're the staff. The 3 of us split up about 60 hours throughout the week. We had a wonderful winter season this year, which we hadn't had for a couple of years. I came and explained to you why we didn't have ice skating for a couple of years. And this last year we had a great run of about 6 weeks of ice skating with a new system that the city came up with to extend the ice skating. They put in a bladder outfit and some partitions to hold the water longer and keep it frozen. And we had a great winter for that. So it was great help at making sure that we had everything we needed to run. We had the blowers in, the ice skates there, the equipment. They got us a snow blower. The girls and I got out there and moved the snow off when we needed to on the weekends. And they came and cleaned it off during the day and flooded in the morning. So it was good for the daytime. Kennedy Elementary came down with their gym classes. They came down on a field trip. The kids from Jefferson School all came over and skated for a week straight. We had different grade levels come on different days. It was just great fun. We had at least 100 people there per day in the first 2 weeks that we were open. And then on the weekends, it was at least 50 people a day for those few weeks that we ran. We stayed open a little bit longer on Sundays. We opened earlier, and it just was wonderful. So we're grateful for that. We hope now summer's here, all that's going to carry over. All the people that came and had so much fun there in the winter now are going to come back and skate park in the summer. They use the playground at Kennedy a lot. The skate park gets a lot of use. We are funded by the city, United Way, and the little bit of money that we can generate on our own by our concessions and dances that we have. Tag Day, we went out and had a Tag Day. We collect Olson receipts, so that kicks in for us. So we try to get enough money to buy some equipment. Our biggest expenses are the cable and the Wi-Fi. We like to keep that going for the kids to come in and watch TV as they like, and the Wi-Fi is accessible to everybody. And that's our biggest expense outside of staffing, I guess, would be the next highest expense that we have. But other than that, we keep the equipment running, do the minor repairs on the building. If anything big happens, of course, I call Jeff and he comes and takes care of it. Most of the little stuff we try to take care of on our own. We're going to be used the building will be used this summer by both Staircase and the ARC for their summer camp. They'll be using the building in the morning hours, morning until we open it, or in the afternoon and we're open into the evening, usually until dark. If we have kids there, we'll stay until dark. They use the building 3 days a week, and then we're just open the other 6 days a week. We are open on Sunday in the summertime. We have most of the rest of the time, and we have some birthday parties. People want to have a birthday party in the afternoon, then you can call me up when we open up for noon, and they have a party, and they pay a little fee to be in there when we're not open. Are there any questions?
Well, I think everybody appreciates your time and effort down there. I think you do a good job.
As a new member of the board, of your board, I do appreciate having you follow, what I want to say. You just do a really good job. It's a tough job sometimes, and I'm finding that out. It's not just a cakewalk. Thanks a lot. It's needed.
Thank you for working with the kids and taking care of them and making a positive influence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheila.
My pleasure.
Presentation. Next, we'll move on to concerns and comments. Citizen comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment on municipal services, activities, or areas of city involvement. Citizen attendance shall be recognized by the mayor for comments, which are limited to 5 minutes, and letters submitted to council will not be publicly read. Anyone who would like to comment? Yes, sir. Now you may.
Oh.
Hello again, Mayor Kinney and council members. My name is Ed Jones, and I am a member of the City of Manistee Non-Motorized Transportation Committee. And I'm here today not to ask for anything. Did any of you all know Quentin Sherwood? I saw some heads nodding. I want you to take a look over here. This is called the Ghost Bike. This white bike over here against the wall. Quentin was riding his bicycle when he was hit by a driver who had consumed like 5 alcoholic beverages, about like 60 miles an hour. He was an award-winning writer for the News Advocate. His wife is a teacher at Rebecca High School. I don't think she's teaching anymore, from what I've heard from my colleagues. I didn't know Quentin. I just moved up here about a year and a half ago. But as I became involved with the Non-Motorized Transportation Committee, one of the things I've also personally been interested in is the right of silence. And in talking around and doing some research on deaths of cyclists in Michigan, Quentin's name jumped out because he was actually from this area. The right of silence has been going on probably about 20 years. Right now they have a right of, well, first let me explain. A right of silence is a quiet right. It's like a moment of silent meditation for cyclists. And it occurs on the third Wednesday of each May. And this has been happening since I think around 2002. I could be wrong, but about that. And it's grown to become an international event. It occurs all over the world. It occurs at about 301 locations in the United States, thanks to the City of Manistee joining the Right of Silence. We actually, when the City of Manistee joined the membership of the Right of Silence, which is going to occur tomorrow night, I received an email from the state of Michigan that said, way to go, we just passed Illinois. So we moved one beyond Illinois. And it also motivated Traverse City, who has been reluctant to join the Right of Silence, to join as a result of the peer pressure from the City of Manistee. So I thought I'd just give us some perks there. But if you look at this bike again and think of a year, And think of 700 of these bicycles. These ghost bikes, whenever a cyclist is killed on the road, the Rite of Silence group from that area takes a ghost bike and sets it at the location where the cyclist was killed. Now that doesn't include all the cyclists that are injured. But every year, there's about 700 cyclists in the United States that are killed, not worldwide, just in the United States. So the purpose of this Rite of Silence, which is going to occur tomorrow at 6 o'clock, it's going to start out at First Street Beach. The purpose of this is a couple of things. One is to remind cyclists to be careful. Because sometimes when you cycle for a long time, you just feel comfortable, but you don't know if somebody's going to be coming behind you that's texting or that's drunk, or whatever the situation may be, sometimes blinded by the sunlight. But it's also the purpose of the Rite of Silence is to make the community, or encourage the community and also drivers to be aware to share the road with cyclists, because cyclists have the same right on the road as everybody else as motorists do. Last year in Michigan, 29 people were killed. That just puts it in perspective. Michigan, I think, is in the top 5 in the country as far as the number of people that are killed cycling. I used to cycle in Kentucky all the time, and I hated cycling in Kentucky because the country roads go this way and that way, and they're really, really dangerous. So I was excited when I moved up to Michigan because the roads are straighter. Everything seems to be straight, but it's still pretty dangerous. I had a couple of close calls just here in the city of Manistee. But right now there's 321 locations worldwide. Just to give you an idea, there's 22 countries that do the Rite of Silence. So in 7 continents the Rite of Silence takes place. So it's really a big thing. And I just wanted to share a little bit with you about this opportunity that now is being presented here in Manistee. The other thing I want to share real quick, because I don't think I've done this yet. I did some recent research, and I discovered that on February the 25th, and these are all pretty close, a 58-year-old woman from Grand Rapids was struck by a vehicle while riding her bicycle, and she died as a result of the injuries. On May the 14th in Traverse City, a man was riding his bicycle. I don't know if you're familiar with Traverse City, but they have a lot of nice bike lanes there. A man was riding his bicycle, and he was actually in his bike lane, and someone hit him and killed him. And then this past Sunday in Wyoming, Michigan, a man was riding his bicycle and was struck and killed. I'm not telling war stories, but the reality is that any of us that cycle, at any time, none of these folks went out expecting to be put in a precarious or dangerous situation. Nor did the drivers. No drivers went out and just said, I don't care who's going to be in my way. It just helps us be aware that we just need to be careful, and we need to spread the word for other people to be careful as well. So, any questions?
No, but you bring up a good point, with the sun at the different elevations like that, it's hard to see people on bikes sometimes. Well, it's hard to see anybody, just discussing all that. So, good point, especially with the upcoming weekend, people are going to be out and about, and there's going to be a lot of traffic, yeah.
More and more.
Be advised safety,
Right, more and more people are out. We actually displayed the bike at Kennedy Elementary School, and I hope to be able to display the bike at other schools here in the area as the weather's getting nicer and kids are out riding the bicycles a lot more. It's just good for us to be aware of that. And it's different up here than it is down south. The sun is sideways here. I mean, whenever I drive around in Michigan, it's like you can't get your visors right. The sun's always coming at an angle. And it's different than down south, because the sun seems to be higher, I guess, the closer you are to the equator. But yeah, that's a big problem. There was as a matter of fact, Miss America in Kentucky. She was from Kentucky. She actually struck and hit a cyclist when she was driving in Louisville, Kentucky. And she said that the glare was the reason why she didn't see the cyclist. And it was Heather French, Henry French, I think was her name was. But yeah, it can happen to good people too. We just need to be careful.
For those who want to join, again, where would they meet, what time, and then how far?
It's actually a short, this is our first one, so we're starting short. Generally, the Ride of Silence is 8 to 12 miles, but this one is going to start at First Street Beach, and we're going to meet at 6 o'clock. I think the ride's going to start about 6:15, and we're going to take Cherry to 8th Street, and then to Maple, and then to First, and then to Division, and then we're going to finish off going down River Street, back down to First Street Beach.
Thank you. Very much.
And also, there's some information back here as you leave, feel free to take it. And we have some cinch bags with some other information. They're actually left over from the Hammond Up Weekend events that we had. Anyone here, when you leave, feel free to get those. There's actually some goodies, like free popcorn from the Vogue Theater, and I think a free appetizer from Manistee Golf Course. Grab one when you leave. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to comment?
I would.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't, Tom Gagan, Jim's Drive, Tennessee. I wasn't bribed or anything, but I thought maybe some of you would like to know about Keith Brown's background. He hadn't been doing this all along, and you know, he found a lump in his throat. He had to cut his tongue out, he had to make a new one out of a muscle in his hand, and he's had to have implants on most of his teeth. And they recently found another lump, and they're afraid that they may have to use his shin bone to make a new jawbone. But Keith has a doctorate in psychology. He's also a musician by trade. He loves to sing, and it's really a hardship for him now. But he's very talented, not quite as much as Tex Collins was. But anyway, that's in respect. Tex is dead. He's the one that started it. I think he started it out.
He was an early figure.
The early figure. That's enough. But, I just thought maybe you would like to know, and he, like I said, Keith did private. Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to officials. Sir. City Clerk.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Interim City Manager.
Nothing here.
City Attorney.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Finance Director.
Nothing, Your Honor.
City Engineer.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Farmer Cody.
Yes, this coming Monday, May 25th, is Memorial Day. Please remember our fallen heroes. Remember, all vets gave some, and some gave all. Have a safe and enjoyable holiday.
I just want to thank all those who made the Title Line for Troops such a huge success. Good job.
Any questions? No?
Yes, I would like to thank the Public Works Department for their speedy removal of the yard debris and cleaning up a lot of the branches and stuff. I know that's time consuming, and this is the time of it for things like that. I've also had a few citizens contact me concerning the north side of town and vehicles in front of the building that's for sale, and I'm not sure if they're repairing them or what exactly is going on out there. And I know we did speak about the one vehicle that was for sale, which was allowable.
On the highway,
Yes.
we're following up with that.
Okay.
That's a zoning issue.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Councilman Whitlow.
Just a couple of things. I want to thank the police department for putting the yield signs in downtown. We have a couple of them down there. Seems to slow traffic down. I would like to see more of them. People like to speed through, and of course then we always have the people going the wrong way, so you always have to look both ways. The other thing that I have is the TV 29.8 thing on TV yesterday. I'm sorry, Manistee at the Crossroads. I thought it was well done. I do agree with some of the points. Talking to Mr. Sang and Mr. Goodwin. One point that I do disagree with is with the AES comment about low-income housing. I believe that we have enough low-income housing in Manistee. We need to start going for medium to high, high rent or high cost housing and bringing in more commercial and more industrial that's going to add to our tax base. That's it.
Nothing, so we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Meeting adjourned.